Brooklyn, New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, and all parts. This is the moment we've been waiting for. This is the time of year that we've been waiting to have a serious role with. Let's talk basketball. I said that I couldn't wait for the playoffs to come because I I wanted to get to the nitty gritty, right? But then you have a game like tonight that was meaningless. Because even if we had the third seed, what does it matter at the end of the day? But there's just something about the way they executed their game tonight. And it just gave me so much confidence that we are going to take this thing home. Bam. Tell me how you're feeling right now, brother. Like, you saw what I saw tonight.
Anxious. I was at a function yesterday with a lot of my friends, all Knick fans, and there was a lot of hoops talk. Mm-hmm. And, you could just kind of feel it in the air. This is what we've been waiting for since these guys signed, since the Harden trade, is the opportunity to make a run. It starts now. And really, once those Bucks games happened and it was clear that we can no longer get the 1 seed, it's kind of just been like, all right, we're in a holding pattern here until the playoffs start. And we've got a nice little 5-day break here to clear our heads, but I'm assuming the Nets are going to be that Saturday opening game. They're an East Coast team. So I'm expecting that to be us in that first game, and we'll see who we play. But here we go. It's time to do the damn thing.
Who do you think we're getting? Who's winning the play-in? Is it the Wizards?
And the game's in Boston. Not that matters too much.
Celtics. The Celtics look gutless.
I want the Celtics for multiple reasons.
No, I want to dismantle those uniforms.
Right.
Those classic
want the final
uniforms.
Nail in the coffin from the trade. I want Kyrie to get that moment. And I do think it's a better matchup for us. I think Washington enters the playoffs feeling like they accomplished something where Boston feels like they're a failure. As I watch LeBron James hitting Caldwell Pope for a nice little 3 here in the background. So
what's
doing some scouting for the finals.
What's the score there?
66-61. Lakers are up early in the third. So I think it's 50-50. Gun to my head, I think it's Washington. I think they'll be, I wouldn't be surprised if Boston loses 2 games and doesn't make it.
No, they've looked gutless, yo. They've looked like spineless cowards out there. I mean, sure they're injured, but these are young guys, man. This should be the season that they should be feasting on old bones. These guys, I think Kyrie is vindicated because I think Kyrie was trying to elevate these kids to a certain level of seriousness that I don't think they have in them.
It reminds me of when Pierce and Garnett were here, and after the season, and they're pretty clear they were taking a shot at Williams. They said guys there didn't want to practice, and practice like a championship team.
Yep.
And Kyrie had seen, maybe Kyrie's not the best leader, so maybe the way he went about it wasn't great.
Right.
But I do think in Boston, he's coming from Cleveland, fresh off a championship, thinking
championship attitude.
I'm the guy who knows how to do this.
Right.
But maybe he just didn't go about it the right way. So that's the team I hope we see. But either way,
it would be so poetic. Like, I hope they don't just suck their way to ruin it it for us. It would just be so poetic to just get Boston in the first round and just dispatch them like
And it's just a more
out of the
high
way.
profile team. It's like it's a
Yeah,
sexier matchup than Washington.
yeah. I don't want to beat the Wizards in the
Right.
first round. Who do you? Okay, so we beat them. Who do you think we're getting in the second round?
We're gonna get Milwaukee.
Uh,
I think Miami will give them a nice run, but I think people are just kind of overrating the bubble, and I don't think Milwaukee's losing to them
I
again.
I think the bubble was a farce. I also think this season was a farce. I think there was a lot of teams that kind of gutlessly gave up on the season and weakened their teams and just had misfortune. Like Toronto is supposed to be in the mix in the top four. Them playing in Tampa Bay just short circuited any chance of them being successful this year. I, this was a weird season. I don't think you should believe in anything you see this season unless it's the Brooklyn Nets. Like that. That's
I
just
think a lot of teams that were like surprise teams, like the Knicks, people will look at them with some skepticism heading into next year to see if they can duplicate the years that they had. So I get what you're saying.
it's not
But
just them. I'm talking about the Suns too. Like I don't.
well, the Suns are like the perfect regular season team. They
Yep.
play every night. Their guys play every night. They've got a good mix of youth and veterans, and they're playing their hardest, but they're not built for the postseason. I don't think Booker's there yet to be that go-to scorer. Chris Paul can't do that anymore. So they're a good team. Sucks for them that they might wind up playing the Lakers there in the first round because they'll probably be heading home. But it's going back to the Nets. It's the weirdest feeling because there's still like so many moving parts to this team,
Right.
and the playoffs are 5 days away. Like they're saying Joe Harris may not practice this week. It looks like Harden was out for precautionary reasons, and that's fine. They didn't need him tonight. But even like the rotation, like none of this seems settled. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see how they approach it.
Do you think it's not settled because Nash doesn't know what he's doing?
No, I don't think Nash is dumb in that regard. I think he's just a bad, like, late management coach. But I don't think he's quick on his toes. But in fairness to him, it's like new lineup or new injury report every single day. So they've needed to play so many different guys. And look, this could benefit them. All the role players those are the guys who've stayed healthy. So
Right.
it's been the other guys that have been the moving parts. So they've all found their groove. And I think what you've seen over this last few games, even though maybe the competition hasn't been all that great, those role players shoot well at home.
Yeah.
The Harrises, the Shamet comes out of his slump at home. So I think, and you go back to those Bucks games, like the other guys didn't shoot well
Right.
in those games. So they became too reliant on Durant, too reliant on Irving, and they kind of got bogged down. Tonight, obviously you take the opponent into consideration, but that's when the Nets are humming, that's what it looks like. Durant had 23 points. He didn't have to have 40.
Right.
He had 13 assists. Kyrie had 18 and 6 assists. Like everybody was touching it. Everybody was getting in on the action. And when the Nets are really humming and playing their best, that's what it looks like.
And what we haven't seen, much lately, of course, but we're gonna see a lot in the playoffs is just how Harden makes, the other guys
Right.
better. And I hate to call them the other guys because I
No,
know
that's
it's the
what they
Cleveland.
That's what they are.
You know what? That is what they are. But
Yeah,
I think Nick Claxton is special, yo. I was watching him, and he guarded who's the kid with the little rat tail that got ejected?
Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton. He basically, was the only net who could stay in front of him. So I just think he's an incredible defender, man. Like,
Look, Nick brings that. He and his rebounding is good too. He's got a good long wingspan. He snatches a lot of balls where he's like coming back into the play, after contesting or guarding a perimeter player, so he gets back into the play. He's just not there offensively yet, but you saw the couple games where James plays, he gets himself into double figures just by getting, running the floor and setting screens. So the one thing that really concerns me about him is I don't even know if you could play him late in the game. He can't hit a free throw to save his life. And it's shocking that he's so bad at it because his form, it's not like he's like bricking them. Like he's got a nice little touch on his shot. It doesn't seem like he should be shooting it so poorly, but he really struggles from there.
Yeah, no, I'm shocked at like how much of a backward step he's taken in his offense. He's definitely sped up is what I see, and but he's 22.
They don't need him to score.
That's not what he's there for. But I think he's vital. I think he's vital because he just is a little bit more mobile than Blake Griffin is, and he's just insurance, behind the rest of these guys. I kind of believe that the Nets are going to step up in defense in the playoffs. The superstars are going to play better than we expect them to play, but we need these guys. I don't know. You think Joe Harris is better to start than Nick Claxton?
To start the game?
Yeah.
Well, Claxton's not going to start. They're going to start Griffin, Durant, and then it's really, to me, it's either going to be Harris, Green, or Brown, and I think he will and should go with Brown at that spot.
Brown?
Absolutely.
I think Brown has such a disadvantage against much bigger teams.
Well, like who? So we don't want Durant being overly stressed, right? At the 4 spot, Brown allows him to play, guard some of the bigger guys, and he just does. He's the energy guy. Like
I get it, but what is Brown going to do against in the playoffs when coaches can zero in on him? What is he going to do against? Of course they can. If you've got Giannis and Brook Lopez, even Middleton is it's like mouse in the house. He's too small. He can't guard those guys. They're gonna get a lot of easy buckets on him.
He's the guy you start that doesn't play a ton of minutes, but I don't want to start Harris and I don't want to start Green either. I think he's the perfect fit. He's the complimentary guy. LeBron crying already. The official. Shut up, LeBron.
What's the score over there?
They're up 5.
Oh.
To a lifeless Pelicans team.
They're out.
Yeah, they got Hernan Gomez out there. So I think Bruce just does like the little things. He's the only guy on the team that gets offensive rebounds, and with even he helps us on offense. All the attention on all those other guys. He's the best guy off the ball, cutting to the rim. He passes well. He never fucks up. So he would be my guy, and if not him, then Green would be my next choice.
He's such a good little player, man. Like a lot of the things he does is underappreciated, but for me, I think he should come off the bench. I think he's the shot in the arm when things get a little bit of flat. Have him come in, create a little chaos. I think Nick Claxton. They're not gonna play Nick Claxton. I know that. No matter how many letters I write, Coach Nash, he's not there. He's not playing Nick Claxton. So
not as a starter, no.
Nah. But I think that Claxton is gonna save them in the playoffs. I think he's gonna do things in the playoffs that are gonna be fundamental to them winning. So
of course, look, they need everybody. That's everybody that plays is going to be important in their own way, and he's no different. And DeAndre's number will be called at some point. We're going to need him to turn the clock back a little bit. It might only be for a game or two, but we're going to need it at some point. And that's how teams become special. It's everybody has to do it. Like I go back to the Giants Super Bowls. Like every player somewhere along the way in that run made their mark. Even if it was a third down stop, getting